Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take a spoiler-free look at Chapter 49 of Kaiju number 8, and oh my goodness, it's no surprise that this was a heart-rending chapter. I mean, there's certain panels where you just feel Matsumoto shove the knife up through your ribs straight into the feels, and ooh, it is so excruciatingly delicious. There's this one moment where one of the characters just thinks a word and, oh, the sweet, sweet agony. But anyway, there will be no spoilers in this, but I got to plug my book beforehand. You can go check out my book, Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote. There are much less feels and much more fun and laughter. It's available on Amazon, and you can get a first edition of the second version by emailing me. Follow the instructions on my website. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, Star Trek meets Monty Python in this short story collection of human absurdity. But anyway, back to Kaiju number 8. All right, so now I think we all had the same expectations of this chapter. It's not a filler chapter, it's a major story chapter, but nothing huge was going to happen. We all knew that going in from the last chapter. This is a chapter that sets up the big combat chapter. It's just a matter of the relationship of the length of the story and the length of the panels and story beats and story flow. And I think we were all expecting this chapter to set up something really exciting and then end on a massive cliffhanger, and we were not disappointed. This chapter does answer a lot of questions firmly, but that we'd pretty much already known from the previous chapters. And once again, it's all in the relationships. Oh my goodness, the relationships that they've built over the previous chapters and action scenes and other scenes. There are real stakes here. For not the first time in a manga, but it's rare in a manga where you have a main character, or even a deuteragonist, a primary, secondary character, if you know what I mean, and you're looking at it, and there is a very real chance that we could be getting a major character death in the next chapter. None of the usual rules of anime plot or manga plot armor are going to protect this character. And so we don't know what's going to happen. Now, there are three main routes of what could happen. The character could live, could be rescued by the other characters that are rushing to their aid. The character could die. I mean, just literally could die, be dead. This could be one of those big character development scenes for the rest of the cast and crew. Or there's a third option that's kind of more horrific than either one of them from that character's point of view, but delicious from a storytelling point of view. But that would be getting into spoilers. So you'll find all about the third option in my spoiler-free review, in my full spoiler review that will be posted on Sunday. But anyway, oh my goodness, the emotions. So over the past several chapters, the Matsumoto has been building the relationships between all of these high command members in the background. You have the relationship that the audience has built with Screamy Scientist Guy. He's just, been in the background reacting, and we get to see that when the chips are down, when there's actual danger, Screamy Scientist Guy, he's clearly not a trained warrior, but he's not a coward. He's got what it takes to grit his teeth and do what he needs to do in the moment. And again, you have this moment, and it's been well built up in the previous chapters. You have Eye Patch Guy and the feral deputy director Itami. I'm a little bit disappointed in what we learned about their characters, I got to admit. I did not expect that dynamic between the two of them and General Director Iso Shinamaya. I kind of thought it was going to be reversed, but hey, this is one of those fun little corkscrew plot twists that make a manga worth reading, because after all shonen manga have the same plot. But anyway, moving on. We have all of these secondary and side relationships that have been built up. Then we have the main relationships, and Matsumoto is able to put so much human emotion into simple action panels. And we get to see the series of 4 action panels for 3 3 different characters. And one action panel, it's just, I mean, you could title it Determination. There's not much truly heart-wrenching emotional depth here, but this character is reacting, this character is a soldier, this character is focused and determined and intense, and it's a really, really good action beat, and you know what's motivating this character, and you feel for him. Then we switch to the action panel for another character, and this one is just heart-wrenching because you can see the emotion in this character's eyes. And yes, this character is also a soldier. Yes, this character is also determined, but there's a level of personal connection between the character in this moment that didn't exist for the previous character. And just by the facial expressions, by the body posture, by the movement lines, you can really see that Matsumoto is pouring this emotion into the character for us. And Matsumoto's using all the previous hints, because the reason for this emotional connection, this heart-rending feeling that the character's feeling, is not in this scene. And it was never outright stated in any previous scenes. This character never declared the relationships that are causing this emotion, but the hints were there, the clues were there, and it all comes to fruition in a small patch of drawing, the eyes in this moment of action. Then you have the final 2 panels, which are showing another character moment, and if the previous panel was heart-wrenching, this panel is heartbreaking. Matsumoto brings in just one word to really make this panel just tear your heart out. 40 odd chapters Matsumoto has been leading up to this moment, and the way Matsumoto has set up the rules of manga, this moment is really, really tense, because even we, the audience, cannot know if the character who's in danger is going to die. The character has been carefully set up on the edge of the cast so that you don't know if he's fully protected by the shonen plot armor. And this is such good writing. I am so excited to see the next chapter, although I am afraid that because of the way a manga battle plays out, I'm thinking it's going to be 3 or 4 chapters before we get a resolution. Is this character going to die or not? And that is so incredibly both frustrating and fascinating. And now I want to step back and talk about something that will be very, very minor spoilers. So I guess I don't even know if you could call it a spoiler, but we do see General Director Aiso Shinomiya in this chapter, and we get multiple different panels of him. And in some of these panels, we get to see him as the consummate officer and gentleman, into this person that he has forged himself into being, that, as we have seen from the flashbacks, is kind of contrary to his natural state of being. This is what General Director Aiso Shinomiya, as the commander of the Defense Force, who he is what he has had to make himself after the death of his wife, after all the trauma he's experienced, all that he's lost. He's made himself into a weapon for the Defense Force in very much the same way that Kafka is using his Kaiju number 8 body to forge himself into a weapon for the Defense Force, despite not wanting to be that. And so we get to see one image of General Director Shinomiya, and it just shows him as a Defense Force officer. His hair is slicked back, his eyes are determined, he's doing his job. And this just illustrates the General Director as we saw him at first, as Matsumoto presented him to us, as the sort of boogeyman of his daughter's fears and insecurities, as the hard voice of practicality that might have ended Kafka's life. And in this panel, we see him like that. But then later in the chapter, we get another panel of the same size and very similar composition. The General Director has been knocked back on his butt, his hair is a mess, and we get a glimpse of the General Director as he, not as he really is, but as he would have been had he not had the crushing burden of being the protector of all of these hopes and dreams for Tokyo. He's not the general director in this scene. He's a father, he's a husband, he's just a man trying to protect the things he loves. And I just love the dichotomy. I've done a video before on how General Director Shinomiya, his character design is gorgeous. He is one handsome man, but we just don't get to see it that often because he's generally in general director mode. His hair is slicked back. It's not that he's deliberately trying to make himself ugly. He's just presenting himself as the general director. And when he's like that, he's not very nice looking. But in this panel that I'm talking about here, when he's when he shook off that whole general director persona, he's only thinking about protecting the things he loves. His hair is a mess. His face is at a particular angle. Matsumoto is presenting general director Shinomiya in his best light, and man, that's a gorgeous man. All right, so I guess that's as much as I can say without going into spoilers. I look forward to doing my full spoiler review. And again, this chapter, it just takes us up to a cliffhanger. It's a setup chapter, but there was so much in it. It just took us for a ride, and I'm going to have so much fun making my smaller extemporaneous videos for this chapter after I do the full spoiler review. All right, so go check out my books on Amazon or email me for a copy of the second book, Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans are weird, we took a vote, and humans are weird, I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, and Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.